Listen to this. This is a spectacular Santa Cruz guitar here at Dream Guitars. I love the sound of an acoustic guitar. It changes my heart. But I want to talk about something a little more philosophically muddled. And that is the sound that your audience hears if you're playing for more than 10 people. If you're playing for more than 10 people, you're going to have a sound system. And people aren't hearing your guitar. They're not hearing the air move from the surface of the guitar. They're hearing the air move from the speakers in the sound system. So what they're hearing is the transducers in the guitar, the things that change the motion into electricity. And that is something I resisted. That was a truth that I said no to. I just decided the acoustic guitar sounds so good, and most pickups that I tried sound so bad. I just decided I'm just going to put a mic in front of my guitar. And that's just the way the world has to be. A mic in front of a guitar can sound pretty good. Richie Havens at Woodstock. What's the matter with that? The problem, of course, is if you're playing in a place where the speakers are close to the microphone and there's any sort of reflection from the walls indoors, the microphone can't get the low frequency of the guitar. It just can't do it. It's going to get all woofy and feedback, and so you can EQ it out, and then you got no low end. And it's never going to sound the way it sounds when you put your chin against the guitar and hear it just, so full. I wanted that sound for my audience. I wanted them to be inside the guitar. Because, if you're just going to plug in one chord, instead of, like in this, so far you've been hearing this guitar with these two awesome Neumann microphones. But if we were to just listen to what comes out of this, go ahead, do it. Oh no. I'm so sorry. What happened? What happened to this guitar? Yeah, that's the problem. And so that's why I decided that no single pickup was going to do it for me. Everyone who plays guitar in settings where you have to use amplification has a drawer of pickups that they have tried. And every time you put one in, you think, this is going to do it. And you plug it in and it sounds, And yeah, you can mess with it if you have time. But a lot of times, if you're going to go play at a festival, there's no sound check. You plug in, you go. Maybe by the third song, they've figured out some of the problems. I wanted a guitar sound that was impervious to feedback and sounded fantastic. So every time I would put one of those pickups into that drawer, I would say, these are all crap. And then one day I thought, wait a minute, these are each crap. We haven't tried them all. Because each one of them is good at one thing. So what I need is a choir of pickups. You wouldn't ask your bass to sing soprano. So why ask a piezo pickup to make an accurate 2K mid-range frequency response? It's never going to do it. It's going to sound ganky and horrible. So let's take this beautiful Santa Cruz off to the side for a moment. And I want to tell you about my guitar sound. You see, the choir of pickups that I have is about 11 transducers, depending on how you count. And I can step right in front of the mains, right in front of the subs. No feedback. It will not feedback. And I have this system figured out so that each pickup gives me just what it's best at. Like, for example, the piezo. It's perfect for that low frequency. The real kick and low frequency, a piezo pickup is great because it's not going to feed back, because it's not sensing the movement of the whole guitar. It's just sensing the movement of the string, which is why it's so bad at the mid frequencies, because you're not getting what the guitar does to the sound of the string. You're just getting the string. But when you have the low frequency come from a piezo, it's impervious to feedback because the sound coming from the speakers doesn't move the string itself. So I have that And on board, there's the RMC preamp. Now, RMC is Richard McClish. He's kind of crazy, but he makes the best piezo pickup going. It's fantastic. And I love that amazing low-end kick. But the piezo is good up into, I don't know, 200 hertz, maybe 300. And then you need something else, because already you're getting into the Genki range. And so then the Sunrise has this beautiful, warm, accurate thing that it does really well. It's a magnetic pickup. So again, it's impervious to feedback because it's just sensing the motion of the strings. It's kind of a sad thing to put a big, heavy pickup on the top of your guitar, because when you listen at home, it's not as loud. It actually dampens the movement of the guitar. That's a funeral, and you have to grieve that. But what you're doing is you're thinking to yourself, how do I want it to sound for my audience? So you say to yourself, okay, I'll have another guitar to play at home, to write on, to be inspired by. When it's time to take it out on the road, I want the best for my audience. So now we're up to 1,000 hertz maybe out of this pickup. Sounds great. What about that 1,000 to 2,000, the thing that the piezo is worst at, that mid-range thing? Well, there's this pickup called a feather, McIntyre feather. And it is useless to try to use by itself because it turns the whole top of the guitar into a microphone diaphragm. So if you're anywhere near the speaker, the low frequency is going to feed back. Well, wait a minute. What if we hook it up so that there's no low frequency at all? We just EQ it all out. And then we ask this pickup to do just what it's best at. Give me like 1 to 2K. That's it. Roll off everything else. So then you've got this sound, and I can play them one at a time for you if you like, to hear just what it sounds like. Watch this. This is just the piezo. Now watch this. This is just the Sunrise. That goes here. And then just the feather. All right? So now, what am I doing over here with my right hand? This is a submixer. I use this Bose thing that they've invented for their L1 and L2 systems. And this is a spectacular, tiny little mixer that I can use to make this radical digital EQ on each of these pickups. And what I love about it is all the presets stay, all the EQ stays. So when you plug in 1, 2, 3, 4 cables into the back. And where do these cables come from? Well, they come from all the different inputs on the guitar. And you might recognize these. They're Pendulum preamp modules. Yes, I used to travel with 2 stereo Pendulum racks. And then the airlines went from 70 pounds of checked baggage to 50. What am I going to do now? I love the Pendulums. Well, I can also use the phantom power from this Bose tone match to power these. And I sent these to Greg with a photograph of the rack. Greg, the guy who invented all that amazing Pendulum stuff. And he was willing to hardwire EQ into the modules. So each of these is a stereo module. So it gathers sound from, the 2 of them together from 4 different pickups. And then this is from the output of the RMC, the little preamp that's built into the guitar. So what I love about all this is that, and I should go further up in this frequency range. So far we've gotten to the feather. Okay, what about after you get up above 2K or 3K? Then you need the Joe Mills mic. Joe Mills made this microphone that physically rejects the ganky little 800 resonance of a microphone inside the body of a guitar, so you don't use up all your EQ just trying to get rid of that. So Little by little, we get more and more complex guitar sound, because when you listen to a guitar acoustically in a room, you're hearing sound made by many different surfaces. The top, the sides, the inside, this part, that part. If you move your ear over a guitar, there's just a whole orchestra of different sounds. And so if you have a transducer at any one place, you're going to get one part of the sound. But if you have pickups in all different places, then you can get a more complex sound. And I know it's a whole world that you don't want to go down. For years, I just played with a microphone and I said, that's it. That's all I can do. Pickups, I'm not going to go there. It's sort of outside the frame, you know? Like if a painter's painting a frame and he puts it up, painting a picture, and he puts it up on the wall, and somebody says, well, what about all that white all around it? And he says, what white? This painting's done. And they say, yeah, but look, there's all this white. You didn't paint it. He says, man, look, there's the frame. This is my responsibility inside the frame. Everything outside, that's just the wall. And we all do that. I obviously do that with costume. People say to me, hey, Dave, what are you going to wear for the show? I said, well, I'm dressed. I'm going out like this. They say, why? That's a whole artistic endeavor you're not even like recognizing. Yes. And there's a lot of people who plug in their guitar with the pickup it came with and say, it's outside the frame. And I respect that, because you have to draw the line somewhere to stay sane. Because if you go down this rabbit hole, you're always testing new pickups every time they come out. And there's great ones. The one in the Santa Cruz is a K&K. It's one of the best. And the sound man can make it sound better. But what I love is not the pickups that try to do everything well, but the pickups that do one thing well. And if you have enough of them, then together they can make your guitar impervious to feedback and sound accurate and complex and satisfying. And over the course of the whole night, the sound isn't tiring. You know how when you listen to like one little Genki piezo pickup after the first 5 songs, ow, the 2K is drilling a hole in your head. So I love a sound that's complex and natural and has a real range. And I have an extra pickup in these guitars that's just for when I want to do this, when I want to tap the top with my wrist like that. There's another little funky old pickup here that's just that, just the kick drum, you know? And I have a space for that in the whole mix. I just want to show you one more thing. I don't always travel with the Olsen guitar. It sounds beautiful, but there's also the psychology of how I'm going to play if I'm exhausted from worrying about my guitar on 3 different flights getting to where I'm going. So sometimes I travel with the Rain Song. The Rain Song is indestructible. It's so light that I can put all these pickups in it and it still feels lighter than a regular wood guitar. And let me show you this one thing. My road axe is this Rain Song. I have a couple of them. This one I particularly love because it's so utilitarian. It's so unashamed to be a road guitar. You know, it's like that amazing Paul Simon Strat that Flip made that has like half a pick guard because he was just like testing it out. Paul, see what you think? And he says, don't change it, I like it. It's got holes in it. And he plays it. So this guitar, it has all kinds of dumb stuff. Like, of course, I have to have my little sandpaper here because if I get a little snag on my nail, it's not going to sound good. I don't have time to go looking for the little piece of sandpaper. It's got to be right here. I can do it, you know, like between songs while I'm talking about something. And of course, the little pick holder here, it's always fast. It's always right there. There was a guy who came up after the show and he said, hey man, can I ask you, what's the button do? I said, what button? What are you talking about? He said, I saw you, man. That button up by the top of the neck, what's the button do? I was thinking, oh shit, he's talking about the pick holder. It's just a way to get a pick fast. But I told him, no, I can't tell you about the button, man, sorry. So I have the exact same setup pickups in here. The RMC Polydrive 4 is mounted without putting the slots in. I put extra spacers in and just hid it in there because I have them all set where I want them. It's always the same. I don't have to adjust it. So why even put the slots in it? Just hide it in there. And the battery, accessible, easy, with this plate that I made out of some aluminum at the hardware store and put this battery container here. I had to fill the hole, which brings me to one more guitar I want to show you. My other Rain song. Let's just hand it over here, would you? I don't need to plug it in, but look at this. This guitar, I asked Rain Song to put in 2 of those little preamps that it comes with because I wanted to try having 2 of these, and have all this inboard. And it was just a little bit too much hiss. The 9-volt circuitry, it's just not gonna be as good as the 48-volt phantom-powered Pendulum preamps. So I went back to just running the signals outboard to the guitar, to the Pendulum preamp modules. But the problem was there were 2 holes cut in this guitar. So this one, I put the Polydrive here with the plate that it comes with. And this has become just a battery holder. I took all the guts out of it. And it's a really convenient battery holder, but I just mostly needed to fill the hole. And then these slots are from where I had the old RMC. I had an RMC that didn't have the Roland cable. Do you know what I mean? Look at this. When we have this cable here, you can plug in MIDI stuff and get an octave bass and stuff like that. That's what the Polydrive 4 is so good at. But RMC also makes this little 330, a version that doesn't have the MIDI capability. And so I had that installed here, and I took it out and replaced it with this. What are these sliders? Dave, tell the truth. I just super glued them on. They're not actually doing anything. What? Why? Okay, this is kind of a funny thing, but I was looking at the holes in this guitar and I thought, why not give the listener a little intrigue? Like, what the hell has he got going on in that guitar? And that's just shameful. This is my second guitar. I don't play a lot on the road, but it is really fun to have silly stuff that you can, amuse yourself with. It's like this, the road equivalent of the studio rack space called the what's the one with the palindromes? The palindrometer, I think. So this guitar has one more ridiculous thing. If you're playing in a gig where the lights are kind of low and right at you, and you're trying to look at the dots on the top of your neck, what if you can't see the dots? What you need is bright landing lights. They're not just for aliens to land anymore. They're actually a nice, fun way to not worry about hitting the wrong fret when you're sliding up. And so that's a fun thing. But what I love about having this kind of decision to say, the beauty of the guitar that stays at home is in the case. It's within the boundaries of what this wood can do for the air, for your ear, for your heart, for your mind. But I've decided to make that boundary bigger when I travel. And I've decided to say, it's not how good the guitar sounds to me. It's how good the guitar sounds to them. And so if you're willing to make that jump, take the blue pill. This is what I've learned so far, that it takes a choir of pickups to get the complexity of an acoustic guitar sound. But if you're willing to go there, your audience will appreciate it. Thanks. Ring them bells, ye heathen, from the city that dreams. Ring them bells from the sanctuary across the valleys and streams. further deep in the wide, and the world's on its side, and time is running backwards now, so is the bride. Ring them bells, St. Peter, where the four winds blow. Ring them bells with an iron hand, so the people will know. Oh, it's rush hour now, on the wheel and the plow, and the sun is going down upon the sacred cow. Ring them bells for the blind and the deaf. Ring them bells for all of us who are left. Ring them bells for the chosen few who will judge the many when the game is through. Ring them bells for the time that flies, for the child that cries when the innocence dies. Ring them bells, St. Catherine, from the top of the room. Ring them bells from the fortress for the lilies that bloom, for the lines are long and the fighting is strong, and they're breaking down the distance between right